Every day I wake up, I just before I work out, I always think about everybody who doubted me or the critics, and it is a chip on my shoulder, like you say, and I got a lot of people to prove wrong.
Welcome, everybody, back to the fourth episode of the Zoarc Podcast. We're here with former Iowa Hawkeye running back, current Tennessee Titan running back, Akrum Wadley. How's it going, Akrum?
Hey, what's up, man? What's the word?
Appreciate you coming on the show, man.
I appreciate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How you been?
Good.
You've
good.
been, so everything's going well in preparation for your first season?
Yes, everything is just, the process, embracing the process, and just, just working.
Yeah. So what have you been doing? So you mentioned kind of just working, embracing the process. What's your work been looking like? What have you been up to lately?
Twice a day, work out morning, afternoon, and then off on the weekends.
Off on the weekends? Okay. And has that been with the team or with some outside training as well?
Outside training, we on break right now, so we had like a month off, 30 days, and we get back to it next week.
Okay, cool. How you liking it down there so far?
It's hot, I know that
Yeah.
much, but just get a chance to get out there and experience something new, and now I got to start all over again.
Yep. Kind of build yourself up from the ground up.
Yep, just like I did out here.
Yeah, man. It was awesome watching kind of your process that you went through, and getting yourself into that position to be that number one back and to be out there, and from my perspective, it seems like really trying to kind of almost have a chip on your shoulder out there to prove something.
Yeah, every day I wake up, I just before I work out, I always think about everybody who doubted me or the critics, and it is a chip on my shoulder, like you say, and I got a lot of people to prove wrong.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, to just go out and prove them wrong.
Right.
And a good quote that I heard recently was another way to look at it, not saying there's a right way or a wrong way at all, but what it said was, don't do it to prove them wrong, do it to prove you right.
Right, yeah. Yup. I think I like that quote. I like that quote a lot.
So just out there really trying to push it to the next level, and so you have like a vision for what you want to do. What are some of the goals that you've got going forward into your first season?
Some of the goals is I want to touch the field. I need to get on the field, any kind of way I can help the team. I'm just looking to establish myself at this point, starting, in high school I always wanted to play Division I. That was a big goal for me, and came to the Hawks, and from a kid I always wanted to play in the NFL. Like who doesn't? And now I'm finally in the NFL. Now my next goal is to play anything. If it's getting some third down touches, first, second, anywhere I can play on the field. That's a goal I need to get on.
Have you ever thought about playing any like slot receiver or anything they put in you? Because just getting the ball into your hands, I think, is the biggest kind of impact that you had for Iowa was when you were in the open space, right, making people miss.
The home run hitter,
the
playmaker.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's anywhere. It doesn't even matter, If I can touch the ball at wide receiver, slide, running back, just as long as I'm touching the ball, if it's even special teams.
Yeah. Did you play any punt return, kick return at all?
I played kick return at Iowa. I've been, catching a few kicks at Titans, but nothing too serious.
Okay. Yeah. Like you said, the best way to really kind of take that next step and get to the next level is to just, like you said, get on the field.
Grind,
Once you can get on the field, then you start getting those touches, and then it's what are you going to do with the touches? And,
it's all in, you work hard, always stick behind that. If you work hard, you it's gonna happen. You know, especially I came this far, and I didn't only come this far just to come this far. I came, you know, to play. I'm not just satisfied with being on a team. I want to like contribute.
Right. So you have a lot of kind of belief in yourself, and you've got a lot of people that believe in you, and you have that vision. So you've kind of created the True Vision movement. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
It's just basically where you see yourself. You know, a lot of people, I've been doubted. You know, since I was little, but I always had that vision. You know, it's funny because when people ask me about it, they think I'm talking about vision, like when I'm back there in the backfield and I see a hole, or I got the vision to see daylight and break through, or that type of vision. But it can be that type of vision, but it's just basically like how you go back, you know, just setting your goals and just tackling them. And it's just where I see myself. You know, I see myself playing. I always saw myself playing D1. I see myself playing the International Football League. Now I just got to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. It seems to be, you know, picking up in relevance, just putting it out there, and like you just, you know, put it out on social media a little bit, said,
Yeah.
you know, and people seem to really love it.
Right.
And they can really embrace the underdog mentality or the vision behind it. And so what is your, I guess, like, when you visualize what you can do, what is your vision for, I would say, like a 10-year goal or a 5-year? Do you visualize yourself like at the Pro Bowl, at the Super Bowl, stuff like that?
Yes, that's always, you know, a goal. Super Bowl, you know, Pro Bowl, you know. I always tell myself, you know, the sky's the limit. You set your mind to something, and, you know, you stay committed, you stay dedicated, you know. You can go really far. You can, you know, there's no limit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good advice, you know, especially to the people who are out there trying to, and they're grinding, they're trying to reach that goal, and to have like you to be able to say, you know, these are the things that I've stuck by, and these are the things that I worked on. So what are some of the things that you know, have focused on, whether it's training or nutrition or recovery? Are there certain things that you've done to take yourself up to the next level?
Something I started recently is when I learned, I went out Florida to train for the combine, you know, massages. That's something I haven't been getting, but, you know, your body, you know, perform better when you're relaxed and you got that perfect recovery. As far as working out, you know, I like to go out and just run. I wake up in the morning and just run 50s, probably 10, 20 50s a day. And then I work on my routes out the backfield, because I notice in mini camp with the Titans, you know, the guys are a lot faster. The competition, you know, things, you know, everybody is quick, everybody is good. And I notice I got to be a bit more quick on my routes, but everything I lack in, I try to work on it, you know, as far as routes or cuts, and I'm still trying to put some pounds on, you know, but I can still do it.
So what are you looking to, like, how many pounds are you looking to put on? How much weight?
I'm trying to be 195. I'm like 190, around 190 range.
Just trying to put on just like 5 pounds solid muscle?
Yeah, solid. Yeah, I already proved you don't got to be, you know, over 200 and, you know, 220, those, you know, those are good bags, you know, big bags. But you don't got to weigh that much to play at my position. I already proved that at a high college level, and it's the same in the NFL.
Yeah, one guy that we just actually interviewed, Jordan Canzeri, he's, you know, one of the smaller backs as well. And he kind of talks about how he's always been, growing up, everybody's telling him, you're too short, you're too small, you're too this, you're too that, you know, and you just kind of use that as fuel and show them, like, hey, look at what I'm doing right now. You don't have to fit the certain mold and be 6 foot, 200 pounds or whatever.
That's facts.
You know?
That's facts. I learned a lot from Canzeri. He's a really good guy. You know, he's a good leader. You know, when he was at Iowa, we connected. He's a really good back too, man. And you can learn a lot from guys like him, LaShawn Daniels. I know you guys had LaShawn Daniels, and it all ties in with what you're saying. It don't matter, LaShawn is a big back. He's a good back. And the opposite, Kazarian is a shorter back, and he's a good back. It really don't matter, It's what you can produce and how can you help the team.
Right. It's what kind of like can you do with what you have?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And what can you do with what you have, and maybe set a little goal like you did to get up to 195 and just improve it just that much, and kind of take things to the next level. So with that, what have you been doing? That's going to be a lot in terms of nutrition, taking care of your body, obviously recovering, and training is going to have a big part in starting to add a little bit of mass. What have you been doing on that end of things?
I've been drinking, like smoothies every time I get a chance. Those shakes at the rec. I'm not at that rec, but in Jersey. I've been on this little smoothie. I've been eating vitamins, but the main thing I've been doing is drinking a lot of water. I try to get like at least a gallon a day, if not, somewhere close. But my biggest thing is just staying hydrated and eating 4 to 5 times a day.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your what's your typical meal look like if you're eating, one of those 4 times a day, not just the smoothie, but like that main meal, or say like a post-workout meal? What does that look like for you?
A post-workout meal, my favorite meal, I like pasta, I like chicken Alfredo. I love steak. I always try to get my favorite place to eat the steak is Roof Chris. I try to get there at least like once a month or twice a month. But after a workout, I always try to eat like some pasta. I love pasta.
Yeah, and that's gonna obviously help you put on a little bit of size eating those carbohydrates, replenishing, refueling. I always tell all my athletes and everybody that I work with the importance of, especially not only the post-workout meal, but every other meal in general, but getting that protein source in, whether it's chicken or fish or turkey, and then getting those carbohydrates to refuel,
Facts,
like
yep.
the rices or sweet potatoes, or the things that you're eating, and just always kind of preaching on getting that in, getting some vegetables in, because what you eat, you are what you eat, right?
Right.
And it almost goes like a little bit further than that into like you are what you ate, if you think about it. So it's like, what was, like, say it's a chicken, what was that chicken eating? Was it on, what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah,
weird if you think about it.
Yeah, I got you. I'll pick up what you're putting down, man.
Yeah. So it almost can go back to that, and you start to really zone in on putting the proper like nutrients and the things that you need inside of your body to fuel yourself and perform at the highest level.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yep.
So what in terms of training, like you said, you've been training a couple times, you've been a couple times a day, you've been doing some running, you've been working on your routes. Strength training, what's that been looking like for you?
Strength training, I do a lot of, I'm not really big on, like lifting a lot of weights. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of sit-ups. I do a lot of pull-ups. I do squats. And every time I got a weight room, I always go up in New Jersey. It's Weekway. My old high school, my old stomping grounds, they open up the gym for me, and I just do basic, like bench presses and stuff like that. But it's a lot of, I love to do like pull-ups,
Okay.
those type.
A lot more body weight type movements.
Right.
Being able to move yourself through space.
Right, yeah.
That's kind of...
I'm not one of those big,
Yeah.
I'm not maxing out, I know that
Right.
much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of your game.
Right,
It's just moving your body, making
Yeah.
people miss,
Yeah.
being quick, being elusive. So do you do a lot of agility drills, or does that come natural to you?
I do a lot of agility drills. I always think, I'm a coach. I can't remember what coach it was, but he said, whatever you good at, that's what you got to be the best at. How long can you dominate something? And if you a big back, some big back, you got gotta dominate. Like dominate defenders. You gotta punish them. If you're quick, you gotta be the fastest. I always think of myself as like I know how to avoid big hits. I got great vision. I can be slippery through the hole, and I feel like I can make people miss. So that's something I try, to be the best at. And it all starts with those agility drills. It all turns back to those, and cone drills. All the drills I've learned in the past, I try to write them down and do them.
Yeah. So a lot of people look at, say, you said you're kind of like slippery, you can make people miss. A lot of people look at that and they'll say, oh man, well he must have just been born with that, but they don't look at all the work that goes into it.
Yeah, it's half and half. Some people is born with it. Talent. Everybody talented at this level, but it's the work you put behind the talent. It can take you really far.
Yeah, and kind of like that old saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't
work hard. Yeah.
Right. So.
Facts.
Yeah, you can take that. No matter how talented you are, you can always improve. You can always get better.
Mm-hmm.
And working on that strength. Yeah, you got to work. Obviously, you got to work on your weaknesses and bring those up. But if you can be the best at something, if you can be, like you said, the quickest, the fastest, making people miss, and really hammering home that's kind of your thing. Like that's what takes you to the next level, makes you better than the next person, or that's something that can be very valuable for you. So what are some of the values that you like to that you say that you contain, or some of the values that you really focus on that maybe some other people could benefit from as well?
Something I value the most, amongst, three things I always, think about on a daily, and three things I value. I always put God first. Family, and something, passion, something you love to do. You just you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I put, I got a passion for is football, and I love to compete. I value being competing over everything. I like to think of myself as really competitive. I can't stress that a lot. I compete with anything, even the closest people to me, my family, my friends, they'll tell you anything. I can be, I could finish drinking a bottle of water, and how much y'all got on this shot? I miss it. Let's double it. I'm just competitive. Anything I want to do. I just love to compete. I even challenge, my girl.
So I guess they were talking about Michael Jordan. I was hearing how they were talking about how competitive he is. That was just reminding me how you mentioned how you'll just compete in anything.
Right.
And they were talking about how Michael Jordan, he'd be on the plane to the games or whatever, and he'd be playing cards, and no matter what, he had to win. Or he'd be out doing this or that, and no matter what, he had to win. Where do you get that killer instinct? You think that's something that you were born with, or do you think that that's something that was developed over time, or can you pinpoint it?
It's some. I'm not sure. You gotta. I guess I think it's half and half. You gotta be born with it, and you gotta. I grew up in Newark, and everything is. Every day is a tough day, and I just love winning. I just get a kick out of winning or dominating. Something. And whenever I can get a chance to compete, it's just it's just the most fun I'll ever have in my life. And I guess you got to be born with it, because I know a lot of people that just when you challenging them, or when you going against them, they lose. They be like, all right, well, you win some, you lose some. That is true, but it's how you look at it. I hate losing, and I love winning. So I like the competitive. I value that over a lot of things.
Yeah. So it's really kind of your perception of what's happening. Other people can say, you win some, you lose some, and that's kind of their perception.
Yeah, and they wouldn't care.
And they wouldn't care, but that's not that's not kind of the way of the competitor.
Yeah.
You know, if
I always think about, not to cut you off, I think about the time I went bowling. I'm not going to throw anybody's name out there. I went bowling with some of my teammates, and it was one guy, he would just throw the ball, and he don't even care about the results. He just throw the ball and just turn around and go grab a drink. I'm like, yo, don't you want to see like what you done? You know, even if you don't know how to bowl, like at least, you know, like
at
he
least
just
try.
yeah, like and it just bothered me, and I just hated it. Like, you know, it wasn't a big deal because we none of us bowlers, but I was getting like really mad because you know, like, try at least see what you know, that was a big thing to me. And it don't matter like if we doing anything, like we're, you know, jumping rope, if we trying to see who we in the pool trying to see who could hold their breath under the water the longest, like compete.
Yeah, and that competition's how you get better, right?
Yeah, I even sometimes I race. I'll be eating. I'll eat and you know, I'll stack my plate, stack my little brother plate, and we'll see who could eat. You know, who could wipe out the plate quicker. You know, just
Yeah.
any little thing, like any little thing is competitive.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of guys that you're going to be competing with for, you know, some time out on the field.
Right.
So how are you going to treat that going into camp? Like in terms of how you pursue what you're, you know, how you're working and how you're going on into the job every day.
It's you know, it's really competitive, and it's also a learning experience. I got some really good backs I can learn from, guys like Dion, you know, Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry. Those two guys, you know, Derrick, he been around the block. Dion, he got a lot of experience on his side, so I can learn. You know, I can learn from them guys. They taught me a few things, you know, and at the same time, I can still learn from. You know, it's competitive, so I can always point out where they went wrong at, if they went wrong, and try to not make, you know, repeat the same mistake they made. Therefore, I can get an edge. Any little thing you can do, like any type of advantage you can get over somebody, you know, you will love to take it, you know, as an opportunity. And like I said, you learn from them and then compete, you know. We can be cool off the field. When we touch the field, we all competing. But at the same time, we're having fun. And at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. And, you know, we're all trying to contribute anyway and do what's best for the team.
Yeah, you mentioned having fun while you're doing what you're doing, while you're competing, while you're going against people. How are you able to kind of like bring yourself back and get your mind back to where you realize like this is fun, this is a game, you know, this is, you know, why did you start? Why do you do what you do? You know.
You know, because, you know, I always say if you look at it as you having fun, is a game that you love. I've been playing since I was little, and Power League, from the Power Leagues to you know, high school, college, it's fun. You know, it's fun competing. If you love the game and you love to compete, you wouldn't look at it like a job. It's really tough though, you know, because just adjusting. It's similar, you know, the whole process is similar to college. You know, you wake up, say a regular day, you wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, you eat 6 to 7, you eat, then 7:30 you got team meetings, you know, 7:30 to 8 o'clock is offensive meetings, from 8 o'clock to, you know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 2 hours of offensive meetings, then position meetings, then you on the field, you know, then you get off the field after, you know, it's hot, you gotta condition, you gotta train, you gotta run, you gotta practice. After practice, you gotta go back in for meetings, and then, you know, it's like school, but it's something. And then the next day you gotta do it again. So it's just, if you don't love the game, if you don't love competing, you don't have a passion for it, you wouldn't last. And no matter how many times it get tough, you know, how I always think it's just temporary, you know, it's gonna work out in the long run.
Yeah, and you just kind of go back on the idea of, as you mentioned, just enjoying the process.
Right.
You know, once you can embrace that grind, once you can, like, you enjoy what you do, you enjoy going to those meetings, you enjoy going out and practicing on the field, you like start to enjoy everything that's going on. That's when it doesn't feel, you know, that's when it can feel more fun, and that's when like you can have less, I would say it's less stressful, right?
Then, you know, you get that bag, you know, you secure that money, that's when you really start having fun, you know. Right now, you know, in college you couldn't get paid, but now you're getting paid, so that's extra motivation, you know.
Right. You're getting paid to play
You're getting paid the game you love. Yep. You're getting paid to play a game you love. Yep.
Yeah.
It ain't like that scholarship money.
Yeah. Probably gotta pinch yourself once in a while.
Yeah, for real.
So with the schedule like that, that's got to take a lot of discipline, though.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you do that you focus on for like time management and for discipline and things like that to keep yourself focused?
You know, I'm not the most disciplined guy. You know, I'm not perfect, but I try to manage my time. You know, when you a part of something, you gotta sacrifice a lot of things. So when I was in mini camp, I would try to go to sleep early, not be on the phone, not playing the game. You know, I'm a big 2K. I love to play 2K. I try not to play the game all day. I try to get to bed a certain time, and then I can wake up and get an extra treatment in before, you know, practice and eat. And it's just all about sacrificing what you're willing to sacrifice. And the weekends, I try not to go out every weekend. You know, I think I manage time. I think I manage time pretty good. Not perfect, but you know, pretty good, because I learned from, you know, Iowa. Being here, it taught me a lot.
Yeah. So you mentioned learning at Iowa, and you know, I know Coach Ferentz and Coach Doyle are very, you know, very kind of strict on a lot of those things.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are some of the things that you learned from those guys?
I learned a lot from this program, you know, as far as, you know, being on time. Being on time is not really being on time. It's 5 minutes early, you know. Discipline, you know, sacrificing, and it's, you know, it's not about yourself anymore. If you're a part of something big, it's, you know, it's team. You know, it's not individual. You know, one individual can, you know, help the team a great deal, but isn't one person can't, you know, can't beat a team, you know, when the team is together. And it's all about the team. You know, they always talk about it. You'll be treated how you treat the team, and that's the biggest thing I learned from being here. Time management, making better decisions, and, you know, just I learned a lot from here. You know, those things they harp on the most.
Mm-hmm. So we were talking with Jordan Kanziri, and he was talking about one of his experiences in the weight room when he was putting he put an extra 5 pounds on the bar. Right?
I was right there. That was funny.
Yeah. And, what was your perspective?
Good. What did he say? To finish it.
So he put an extra 5 pounds on the bar, right?
Yeah,
and he lifted it, and then you know, Coach Doyle went over and asked him what he was doing, and he was like, "Man, you just told it," you know. And then Coach Doyle, so Coach Doyle told him, you know, if you're doing 5 pounds extra, you're not doing what
we told you to do. Yeah.
So like, do you think you're bigger than the team?
Yeah.
You know, so. After he kind of like followed him back he told us, you know, he followed Jordan back to the locker room, and Jordan was like, "Man, but we just had a meeting about, like, I think it was Sean Green or like a couple of other guys,
Bob Sanders,
and they're like, you know, these guys are doing the extra. They're always doing more. They always wanted to do more." He's like, "Well, didn't you just tell us to do more?"
Yeah, you know.
Like, you know.
Yeah, that was funny. I think I work out after him.
Yeah.
And I remember him storming in the locker room. He was so mad. He was pissed off. And I'm like, man, why is he so mad? You know, he wouldn't tell me the full story. But I know, like, usually, and this is, you know, when Coach Doyle, he get on you. And One thing I always liked about Coach Doyle is he really don't care who you are. Like I seen him like wow out on like some real athletes, like guys like I seen him yell at CJ Beathard one time, and he was CJ Beathard, the highest on the team, and I'm like, wow, like he really do not care who you are, and he really don't. I respect that about him, but usually when he like yell at you, he kick you out. He kick you out the weight room or indoor. He don't usually follow you, so he kick Kenzari out of the weight room, and Kenzari storms in the weight room. Storms in the locker room. He's mad, and I'm right there just getting dressed, and I'm like, dude, why are you so mad? It's early in the morning. Like, you can't be that mad. This like, what happened? And he wasn't telling me, and then like, I'm like, man. Before he could even like open up and tell me, Coach Doyle came right behind him and just started letting him have it again. And he say that he like y'all guys always talk about how Bob Sanders, those guys always doing more. I'm just trying to do more, and that even made him even mad. I'm like, man, and he yelling at you, just all right, like yes sir, like just let it go, because the more you go, like the more like it's gonna get worse. And that was funny, but at the time it wasn't funny, but it's funny.
It's kind of funny looking back on it.
Yeah, it's funny looking back on it.
Yeah, but it kind of teaches you that lesson, and sometimes you got to go to almost that higher level to really get that message across.
Yeah, and even learning from that, now I look at it like that was a lesson. Like when somebody talking to you, when the coach like pissed off at you or yelling at you, just let it go, because you don't win in the end. Like, if you keep arguing, like, just let it go, because the more you argue, like, the more, like, it's gonna just, that's a lesson to learn from, too. Just, yes, coach, no coach.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you maybe disagree with their stance a little bit, you can still take their perspective into consideration and say, okay, well, I understand what I did, I understand how I can improve, and kind of take it that way. Did you ever have any experience like that?
I had plenty of experiences like that. And I'll tell whoever, like I always talk to my little brother, he up and coming. It bothered me when he was like challenging his high school coach. The little small issue they had, but he was challenged. You don't challenge a coach in front of anybody. Like, if you have a disagreement, if you have a disagreement with a coach, you let it go, and then later on you go see him man to man, in person in the office, and you talk to him, but at the time just let it go.
Right.
It was a time. This was my senior year. I was playing with I was on offense, and we was in a shotgun. I was nowhere near Stanley. He snaps the ball. I runs a route, but he fumbles the ball. So I come from a route to try to like jump on the ball. I'm nowhere near the ball, and Coach Brian, he turns around and see the ball on the ground. He goes, "Akrum, run a lap." Like, what? I didn't fumble. I ran no lap. He like, run a lap. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, like, you serious? Like, are you really serious? He's like, go. So I'm like, fuck. I run a lap, and then when I come back, I think one of the, the coaches must have told him I didn't have anything to do with the play. So he's like, whatever. So, and later on, Coach Brian, he don't really like to be wrong, So he that was probably the only time he said my fault, ever, because he was like clearly wrong. But later on, we got it straightened out. But that was crazy. I was mad running that lap.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you ever see yourself coaching one day?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So,
I would love to coach after I'm like completely finished.
Yeah, someday way down the line.
Right.
So what are some of the values that the coaches have instilled into you that you would take as a coach and use?
Sacrifice, discipline, and always put the team first. When you out there, you not only like represent yourself, you represent, your team, your family, your friends. Anything you do, is going to come back to you, whether it's good or bad. So just always keep that in mind.
Yeah. We talked about that you guys had read the book, The Slight Edge.
The Slight Edge, yeah.
What'd you think about that book?
I haven't read that book, even though it was a requirement. I haven't read The Slight Edge, but after talking about it for 4 years, it's different lessons in the book that you can learn from it. The book always talk about, it's the little things that matters, and they're easy to do and easy not to do. So that's the big thing about that book. They always preach on the little things, and there's a few lessons from it that you can learn from.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of like the little things that it mentions. You can kind of compare it to
real life.
Real life, yeah.
Real life.
In anything, in any situation,
Yep.
And it's a good way, like the way that it describes is like doing the small things over time, how it compounds and builds up.
Yep, and builds up, yeah.
So what are some of the small things that you do, whether it's on a daily basis, just like first thing in the morning you do certain things? One of the things that I do is like I try to meditate first thing in the morning, and I try to get hydration. So I try to, I focus on, small things, getting like first thing in the morning, getting like 16 ounces of water in so that I feel hydrated, doing some meditation, getting some activity, getting outside. Are there some small little things that you try to do on a daily basis that kind of take you to the next level?
Not really. I know I try to, when I wake up, I don't like to go back to sleep. I try to I feel like I don't need an alarm. I always set my alarm, but I end up beating my alarm about 5 minutes early or 10 minutes, but I don't try to do nothing crazy. Often, sometimes when I'm in the mood, I try to wake up with already like positive energy to start my day off good, because, when you wake up, you lounge and you still tired, you know what I'm saying, before you do anything. Sometimes I'll wake up, roll over, and just start getting some sit-ups, and I get like 25, for about 25 sit-ups, get some push-ups in, and I just, before I take a shower and all of that, I feel like I'm in a good mood, I'm ready,
Yeah, and that's a good way. I mean, it's kind of been shown that if you get a little bit of activity first thing in the morning, that can help with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
That can help you get your mental clarity going. That can help you with a lot of different things. And yeah, like you said, getting that positive energy going.
Positive energy, yep. It's all about how your mind. You know what I'm saying? I like to think of a victory I had yesterday. Say if I caught a bus, or I got a chance to get a discount in the store. All right, I'll think about that. Yeah, let's build on that. You know what I'm saying? Any little thing, I always like to think about. I had a good day yesterday because of this. Today is gonna be better because I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah, you can always kind of relate it back to things that maybe made you have a good day. Then you start to relate it and say, well, I'm gonna try to do that thing again tomorrow, because I saw a positive result from it.
Right.
And things like that. And kind of talking about, one thing I like to talk about a lot is kind of doing, those smaller things every day. It's almost like building like a house. You got to have that foundation laid, and you got to lay each brick,
Yeah,
you got to lay, consistency
right.
is key. So yeah, what are some of the things that you like to do in your free time, or things that maybe a lot of people don't know about you?
Man, I like to do everything. I like to do everything, man. I like to bowl. I like to shoot pool. Any little thing, I just be down. I just be down to do it. If somebody, my friends, anything hit me up, let's go have a water fight. Let's go do it. Let's just go to a water park. Let's go do it. But I love to bowl. I love to shoot pool. I go out, not too much, but, I like to do everything, man. I like to play 2K. I like to play a lot of video games. Yeah.
So a lot of those things have, something in common, which is that you're competing.
Yeah.
So that
definitely,
brings you back to one of your, like you said, one of your kind of strongest suits, and one thing that is really one of your biggest characteristics is being competitive. And even when you're, having fun, you're still competing.
Right.
So, yeah, that's really cool. So, Zoarc, the word Zoarc, it means maintaining life. And that can be kind of looked at in a variety of different ways. It can be, there's not one certain definition. Everybody has their own perspective on it and can kind of see it in their own way.
Right.
How would you define that?
Maintaining life, I like to think of maintaining, like as consistency, being consistent. If you successful, maintain that, if you're not, then work to get to where you want to be and, maintain it. So like consistency,
Yeah.
as far as being consistent and being successful.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So is there anywhere that, we've got the True Vision line coming out. Do you want to touch
Right.
on that a little bit? We've got the hats and the shirts.
Yeah, thanks to you guys, True Vision, Zoarc, partnering, and it's going to be a blast. We got True Vision, we got Zoarc, and I feel like, we're going to do really good things, really big things in the future.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got like I mentioned, we've got the hats coming, the shirts
hats,
coming.
The shirts, the shorts.
Yeah. We're going to have...
We got a lot of things.
Yep,
a lot of ideas coming. We just got to, we got to put them all into action.
Yep.
Yep.
Even probably bring out, some track suits and whatnot.
Suits, yep.
Yeah.
I even like I got a fanny pack. And I like those. Those
Okay.
little packs right there. You put something like that together, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just bringing out a lot of new stuff for the people, for the fans, right?
Yeah, something different. Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool to see how that gains in traction over time and how people really just buy into kind of, for lack of a better term, the vision.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They see it and it's something that you can kind of like attach to and really put kind of like your heart and soul into it. Right? Because it basically essentially is just defining you and what you stand for.
Facts.
So, yeah. There are some places that people can find you if they want to connect with you, whether it's on, Instagram or Twitter.
Twitter. I even have a Facebook, Snapchat. And mainly be in Iowa, I'll be in New Jersey. The next few months I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee. And, I don't bite, hit me up. I always reply, always respond. And we're going to do some really good things together.
Yeah. So what's your username, or like your handle for social media?
Instagram, it's Top Dog Wadley. Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter too, Akrum_Wadley. Same thing, Snapchat, Akrum_Wadley. My Facebook is Akrum Wadley. No weird names and none of that. It's my name, and just hit me up.
Keeping it pretty simple.
Simple, yep.
Yeah, man. So before we wrap it up, I kind of just want to acknowledge you and thank you, for taking the time out of your day to come onto the podcast and for kind of the values that you bring to the brand and to what you're working on.
Right.
with your dedication and the consistency that you bring to things and like the positive attitude that you bring to things. I think that can really rub off on people. Right. And can cause a positive impact. So, yeah, I just want to thank you for that.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. I feel like you guys are cool so far. Only time going to tell. And I feel like we're going to do really big things together.
Definitely. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Zoarc Podcast with Akrum Wadley. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch or listen. If you liked this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the video. Share it with your friends. And we'll also put the link to anything that was covered in the interview, whether it's the True Vision apparel or ways that you can connect with Akrum or anything along those lines. We'll put that in the description as well. So thank you again. Please tune in to the next episode. Looking forward to it.